Good morning. Welcome to Mindset. Good morning, Connie.
Hello, Happy New Year. Good
Happy New
morning.
Year's. Good morning. Good morning, Shalini. Welcome.
Morning.
I
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm so excited to get started today. It is our first room of the new year. So I'm really, really happy about that. We are just keeping on, aren't we, Connie? It's been since 2020 when we started. So I'm so happy to start a new year and definitely talking about a mindset topic today, which I'm excited to dig into. My name is Vanessa Cooper. I'm a Pinterest marketing expert and content creator, and I am here every Wednesday, almost every Wednesday at 9 a.m with my Clubhouse bestie Connie, and we always have a guest speaker that shares on new topics to help you grow your business, whether it's marketing or mindset based, because those two are very important for business growth. So, with that being said, Connie, go ahead and introduce yourself and then prompt our guest speaker to introduce herself. I'm done talking.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Connie. I go by Ladoc. I'm a Christian mindset stress coach. I help people deal with their stress, their emotions. And if you've been in a room with me before, you know I always say that stress is an emotional response to a situation. And as human beings, we respond with our emotions all the time. And I help you regulate those emotions, stress less so that you can live more. Today, we have Shalini with us. Super excited to hear about decision and fear. Shalini, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. A very, very happy new year to everybody here. I'm so excited to be here. And I'm excited that I'm the first guest speaker of the new year. So that's amazing. Thank you for having me today. So I'm a success enabler, and I help you to get you from where you are to where you want to be. You know how we all keep getting stuck. We all come across ceilings in any area of our life, right? When we are trying to grow. So what I do is I help you to close that gap. I help you to overcome that ceiling, and I help you to take a quantum leap. And why I do it differently is because I don't focus on temporary behavioral changes, but I focus on permanent changes, meaning you will get very, very lasting changes. So that's what I do. And I'm done.
Wonderful, Shalini. Thank you so much for sharing. So every week we are here talking about marketing and mindset. And I'm not sure, Vanessa, do you have questions ready for Shalini? Or would you like her?
I was literally talking and had not unmuted my mic. I pulled a Connie this morning. But yes, I wanted to say, Shalini, thank you so much for being here. I'm excited to hear what you have to share. And what you do sounds really rewarding, and I think I talked to Connie about this a lot. I'm so marketing focused with what I do and how I help people. And the mindset part's so important that I love hearing what people have to share about it because it's such a big deal. So when we talk about decision and fear, I understand that those two are very connected. But that's me, for somebody who's not sure where decision and fear, how they correlate and how they affect each other. Can you kind of explain to us how they sort of relate to one another and bounce off each other? I'm Vanessa and I'm done talking.
Absolutely. They are absolutely related. And these are two topics that are very, very interesting for me as well. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about decision first, decision making, and then I will correlate decision and fear, and then I'll talk a bit about fear, right? So, let's talk about decision. Now, first, I'd like to mention that if you think that you aren't exactly a decision maker, I'd like you to know that it's not your fault because nobody was taught how to make decisions. Our family didn't teach us how to make decisions. And in most cases, our families made our decisions for us. Think about what you're doing at the moment. Most of us went to school doing what we are doing, what we did in school because of, our parents saying that, oh, you'll be good at this. I think you should do this. And we never learned how to make decisions. So don't worry if you think that you can't make decisions in certain areas of your life, but the news is that now it is your responsibility to learn how to make decisions. If you want to achieve your goals, then you have to be a decision maker. So the question is that why is it important to learn how to make decisions? It's simply because we have to go for what it is that we want to do. All along we've been so used to other people making decisions for us. If we do not learn how to make decisions, we'll never go for what it is that we want. So it's not only important to learn how to make decisions, but it's very critical to make committed decisions. So what does that mean? So it means that no matter what decision you make, when you make a committed decision, you won't change that decision no matter how hard things get. And you have to make a decision based on what you really want rather than what you think you can get. Now, what do most of us do? Most of us tend to make decisions based on our current circumstances. We make decisions based on what we know we can get or what we think we can get. So that's where we are getting stuck because, we keep thinking along the lines of whatever is available around us, and we make decisions based on that. And that simply means that you can't get to the next level because you are deciding based on what you can see in your current reality. So your actual want is something that comes from inside of you. And most people ignore this because they have no idea how they are going to get what they really want. So what they do is they make decisions based on what they think they can get or what they know they can get.
I
So
have
as
to
we go through,
I have to interrupt. I am so sorry. And the reason I'm interrupting Shalini, and I'll do this from time to time, so just bear with me, is because it is so good. Everything you have said is so good that I have to give you some feedback because it's amazing. One, I have to tell you that I'm one of those people that gets frozen when it comes to making decision. And I'm not talking about big life decisions. I'm talking about, like, I will read the restaurant menu to try to decide what I want to eat before we get to the restaurant. And then we get to the restaurant, we wait to sit down, and we sit down and we go to order, and I still don't know what I want, and I panic about what I'm going to order to eat. Okay. I'm not even joking. It's horrible. It drives my husband crazy. He's like, "Oh my gosh, you've been staring at the menu for the past half hour. How do you not know what you want?" And I don't know why. I just panic about it. So it's not even like big major decisions, but I get anxiety over little decisions. It's funny. I think I have an easier time making big life changing decisions than I do making small, completely, like, won't affect the outcome of my life decisions. So it's really interesting all you have to say. What you said, I have to talk about it because it's so good. I'm writing this down, like this needs to be a quote. The committed decision, what you said about the committed decision, meaning that you make the decision, you commit to it, and you don't change it. Like, that's so important. I think a lot of people make decisions that are not committed, and the problem is that if you don't follow through with what you decided on, you'll never see the outcome. You'll never know. So I absolutely love that phrase, committed decision, because, I have one, I don't think I've heard anybody say it. And two, it's very important to separate a decision that you can make and just get out of if you don't like how it's going, and a decision that you make and stick to it no matter what to see the outcome. And that is very important to know the difference. And then what you said about making decisions based on what you can see and what you think you can do, versus what you want to do, not just what you think you're capable of doing. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to hear more about that. That is so good. And I think that decision making really holds people back from, really reaching their goals. So it's so good. I'm sure Connie's thinking the same thing. It's been so good so far. Go ahead and continue where you were at. And that's it. I just had to give you some positive feedback. I'm done talking.
love it, Vanessa. You made me laugh when you spoke about the menu because I think you're not the only one who undergoes that. So let me just tell you what happens to me. So, I hang out with my sister a lot because we live together and we get along really well. So she makes all the decisions in the house. So here I am speaking about decision and fear, but here there is somebody in my house who makes, at home, who makes most of the decisions. But yeah, I think this is where most of us get stuck. But I'm going to come to that. How do we know? How do we make the right decision, and how do we know we made the right decision? So I'm going to talk about that. And you talked about committed decision. Absolutely. So no matter what happens, change your plan, but don't change your decision. So what people currently do is they progress based on convenience. They think they've made a decision, but they actually haven't made a committed decision. Because what happens when they see that things are not working out for them, they just change their decision completely. So that's not a committed decision, because they go with what's working for them. They don't want to go out and make things happen for them. So that's not really a committed decision. And yes, I'm going to talk about how to move beyond your current circumstances and make a committed decision based on what you really want. So yes, I'm going to cover everything. Now let's talk about how to make the right decision. How do we know that we've made the right decision? So your decision should be made using your intuition as opposed to your logic. Now, how do people currently operate? As we're speaking here, so most of us use logic, and logic is something that is based on your current circumstances, because you analyze everything outside your mind. You're like, this is available, that's not available. So you start using your logic to make decisions based on your current circumstances. But guess what? Your intuition provides the right guidance. So, whenever you're faced with a situation where you need to make a decision, and in the first 30 seconds, if you feel that that's the right thing to do, let's say somebody offers you something, or they give you a proposal on something, or you've come across something that you feel like, wow, I really resonate with this. And if in the first 30 seconds you feel that it's the right thing to do, then there's a 99% chance that it's the right decision, because it's come from your intuition. So you might come across something that really really interests you, and you're like, wow, I really want to do this, right? And in the first 30 seconds, if you just say yes and you go for it, then you're going to fly. That's a fact. But what do most people do? They let this hunch pass. You just let your logic take over, because now you start pondering that, do I have this, do I have the time, do I have the money, what is my husband going to say, what's my family, what's my aunt going to say about this, what are people going to think about me? So when your logic takes over, you give there's so many excuses it gives you. It makes you not want to do that thing. It makes you not want to move forward with that particular decision. And especially if it's something that you've never done before. So think of challenges that you faced in the past, and you've had to make decisions. How many times did you engage your logical mind over this? How many times did you ponder over this idea, until you got to a point and said, oh, you know what, I'm not going to do this, it's fine. But there was a hunch somewhere, there was your intuition telling you that you should have done it, but you decided to ignore it because you went over onto logic. And this also happens for unique decisions, like when you have to spend a large amount of money on your new project or on a new item. How many times, do we tell ourselves that, okay, I'll pass this because of XYZ? So here we are using logic. So logic is not the right way to make decisions. You should use your intuition. So now I'm going to expand a bit on that after I talk about my second point, how do we know that we made the right decision? So the second way of knowing that we've made the right decision is when you feel excited about it all the time, almost like more than 90% of the time. When you're really, really excited about something, it means you made the right decision. It's something that really drives you, excites you. It's like you know what you really want, no matter what. Because if it's something that you didn't want, you'd not make a committed decision, right? If it's something that you really, really didn't want. So let's go back to my first point. I talked about making decisions based on logic, and logic is based on your current circumstances. So we all consider available resources when making decisions. And I say that that's not the right way to make decisions, because it should be made based on what you really want. So how do you do that? Now, how you should do that is by getting on the frequency of your desires. Whatever it is that you you need, whether it's in your business, in your personal life, whatever it is that you want to achieve. So for instance, if you want to achieve 100% growth in your business this year, 2023 has just begun and we all have big goals. So how do you make sure that you can make a committed decision towards achieving that 100% growth? It's simply by putting it down on paper and engaging it with on a daily basis. When you emotionally get involved in any idea, so in this case, you just make a decision and say, this year I've achieved 100% growth in my business. As you emotionally get engaged with that idea, you start getting on the frequency of that particular decision that you've made. Now, we have a tendency to think from a place of lack and limitation. And that's why we are not able to make decisions and get what it is that we want. So once you make a decision and emotionally get involved with your goals and desires on a regular basis, you start getting onto the frequency in terms of your mindset. You start getting onto the frequency of your goals. And what happens when you get onto the frequency of what it is that you wish to achieve? You start attracting the people, resources, and circumstances that you need in order to attract what it is that you desire. So, if anybody wants to know how to write down what it is that they desire in a specific manner and how to engage with them, they can get in touch with me later after this session. So, remember, all you need to do is get very clear with what it is that you want, make a decision, and start getting emotionally involved with that idea so that you automatically start attracting everything that is attached to that particular goal, and it will start moving towards you. Now, I'm not saying that just sit and do that. No, you have to take action. You absolutely have to take action. But what happens when you make a decision and you start getting emotionally involved with an idea? You start taking the right action, because whatever you emotionally impress in your mind, it's going to drive you towards actioning towards that particular point. So you just have to believe and have the faith that this is something that you can achieve. So decision has many aspects to it. So that takes us to inner speech. When you make a decision, make sure that you're affirming that decision and that particular goal to yourself every single day, multiple times in a day, so that that idea can actualize faster in your reality. And also remember, successful people make up their minds quickly and change them very slowly. So I'll repeat that. Successful people make up their minds quickly and change them slowly. So two things. They make decisions within 30 seconds and they don't change their decisions. They only change their plans. Yes, Vanessa, please go on.
Oh no, I was just praising you, and that's our way to say like applaud on Clubhouse is by flashing our little mic app. Like, it's sort of saying that's amazing. I love what you're saying. But not just that, but I love everything that you're saying, and the affirmations and just sticking to it, and going back to something that you said that I made notes of because it's just something that's worth repeating. You said when it came to the committed decision that it's okay to change your plan as to how you're going to achieve the outcome, to how you're gonna achieve your goal. It's okay to change your plan if you see that maybe your plan's not working to get to your goal, but not to change your decision of what your ultimate goal is going to be. And so I thought that was worth noting, and I love it because you're absolutely right. You make that committed decision. You say, this is what I want to happen, and I'm going to work hard. And like you had said earlier, not just deciding and affirming your decision and sitting there and doing nothing about it, but taking action. And that it's okay if you take action and realize I need to adjust the execution of this in order to reach my goal and kind of shift what I'm doing and try something else, as long as you're still committed to that decision. That way you can really see, it come out. Now, we have a somebody who raised their hand. So I think, oh my gosh, Clubhouse is changing on me. Okay. So I'm going to bring her up here, Shalini, so she can ask her question. So Kay, I'm going to go ahead and bring you up here. Once you're up here, go ahead and introduce yourself and what question you have to ask Shalini, or if you wanted to add value to the conversation, that's fine as well. So let me bring you up. She should be up here soon. I'm refreshing the room. And sometimes it's glitchy. Okay, Kay, go ahead and introduce yourself and ask us your question. I'm done talking.
Yes, hello. Thank you so much for bringing me up. And yes, oh my gosh, I walked in right when Shalini was sharing, and it was just, I just resonated so much with that. I just wanted to be able to, just be able to come and also add value and just reiterate what she says, because that was just so powerful, specifically when it came to like when she talked about decision making. And Shalini, can you just repeat that one more time, because that was just, it was really really powerful what you said about making a decision, and like how I forget how you worded it, but in my mind, like I know I understand the concept. I just need to hear it one more time if you recall what you just said.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Kay, for your kind words. Yes, so I said two things. Um, you have to make a committed decision, meaning you cannot absolutely change your decision. You can only change your plan on achieving that particular goal. So your decision is based on the goal you'd like to achieve, right? So you must make a committed decision. The second thing I said is that successful people make up their minds quickly and change them slowly.
That's the
So
one
that's the
right there.
three. Absolutely, absolutely. So when I say successful people make up their minds quickly, it means they make decisions within 30 seconds and they use their intuition. And that's where most people are going wrong, because they don't use their intuition, they use their logic. And then they change their minds slowly. So again, it's related to what I said, that you only change the plan of achieving your goal based on the decision you made. You do not change your decision or your goal. I hope that helps.
Yes, it does. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for sharing that, because it just makes me think about how, um, one of the things that I'm continuing to work on, but I've definitely improved on a lot more, is being able to make a decision and stick with it, right? And so when you were saying that, it just made me think about how sometimes we overthink things, and we already know, the direction we want to take. But sometimes, like, the title says, sometimes we allow fear to get in the way from us moving forward in that decision. And so even though that thing you may be afraid of whatever that action is that you want to take, or that goal or that dream, being able to make a decision and move in that direction. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to publish my book. I'm going to start my podcast. I'm going to do this or that, right? And if you have to, change up how you do it, I think that's just so powerful what you shared. Like, if you have to change the plan. And so it just makes me think, you know, um, about with my goals this year and things, you know, um, when you figure out a strategy plan, right, to figure out, to be able to go forward in that direction, right? You're creating a plan for yourselves. I think the biggest thing to keep in mind is that it doesn't have to be such a big old step that you're taking. And I've learned to really understand the importance of taking small steps, and just how significant those small steps can be. Something as simple as setting up, right? Setting up, again, I'm going to use a book as, for example, because this is exactly one of the goals I had for myself at one point. And the one step that I had to take, small steps daily, right, with writing my book, is writing for at least 20 to 30 minutes a day, writing and or working on what it is that I want to write in my book, whether it's the chapter title, the name, what it's going to be about, taking small steps daily, because at the end of those small steps, you're going to have a result. But it's like the pieces of the puzzle are coming together. I have all these separate chapters and different things I'm working on, and then eventually I'm going to have the finished product. There's going to be a result, a tangible thing that's going to be manifested. And so I think that's so important when we talk about decision and fear, to not necessarily think too much on the fear, or I should say this, I'm sorry, utilizing the fear as fuel to move forward. Because fear, one thing that I've learned about fear is that I could use it, to draw back, or I could use fear as excitement, because it's excitement. I can use fear as excitement to move forward, even though it's scary and it's unknown what is going to be ahead of me. I can use that fear. I could use that end result in my mind, that manifested vision of what it is that I want to accomplish, and I could use that as fuel to push me forward, push me to make those small steps towards that thing. And so I think it's such a powerful conversation, and I appreciate you letting me share. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you so much, Kay, for coming up and sharing and adding value to the conversation. For anyone in the room or who's new to the room, we're always glad to have you guys come up here and add to the conversation. And Shalini, I'm sure you can bounce off of that and continue the conversation and sharing with us what you were talking about, and maybe going into the fear part of it, since Kay kind of prompted that topic onto how that affects our decisions and what we can do to take care of that. Go ahead, Shalini. I am done talking.
Absolutely. I love the direction this conversation is taking because Kay just she actually fueled what I was about to discuss. I was coming to the fear part. And Kay, I'd like to congratulate you for taking action on a daily basis regarding your book. So well done. Super proud of you. So before I go into fear, when Kay, you spoke about planning. Yeah, one tip that I'd like to share on this platform today is this. You said taking small steps every single day. That's absolutely the right way to do it. Now, how can you do that? So, I have something that's called a $25,000 idea. So this is an idea that actually helps somebody generate $25,000 in 14 days. I'm not saying that's going to happen for you, but it's an idea that that really helped them. So every single night, um, just make a list of 6 things that you can do the next day in order to move closer to your goal. And then the next day, even if you accomplish 2 out of the 6 action tasks to move closer to your goals, you'll still have moved closer to your goal, right? Committedly do that, and divide your day in 1 hour blocks. Do one thing at a time, because sometimes we get into the loop of multitasking, and that doesn't really get us anywhere. So the one thing that I learned from my mentor is that divide your day into 1 hour blocks and just focus on what you're doing for that particular hour. And you talked about overthinking, so don't even think about what you did in the last hour and what you have to do in the next 1 hour. Absolutely not. Just completely focus all your attention and energy to that 1 hour, and you'll see how effective you become. In fact, you'll reduce your working hours in a day if that's how you work on a daily basis. That has personally happened to me. So yeah. Now let's go to fear. Now you said that fear can cause somebody to not make a decision, right? Guess what? That's actually not true. And when I found this out, I was blown away, because we always think that fear causes indecision. It's actually the opposite. When you don't make a decision, that's when fear creeps in, because you get into the overthinking mode. So how does that happen? So let me explain the flow here a bit. So when you don't make a decision, it means it's an indecision. So indecision leads to procrastination. Procrastination leads to doubt. When doubt and procrastination marry, when they mix and get together, it leads to fear. So fear is simply a combination of the doubts that come as a result of the procrastination that has just happened as a result of indecision. So it's indecision that leads to fear. It's not the other way around. But guess what? The great news is that fear doesn't actually exist. Now, you might wonder why I'm saying that, because we all feel fear time and again. So today I just want to take you through the process of how fear comes about. When I learned this concept, I mean, my fear is gone. I don't feel fear because I understand exactly what's happening to me. So we're going to get a bit visual here. So I just want you all to imagine some of these things that I'm saying now. Now think of your current way of thinking. You know, the way you think, the way you're used to doing things, you know, in your business, in your personal life. So your current ideas. So think of your current way of thinking and your current ideas as ideas X. So this is something that you're currently used to, you know. It's based on your current way of thinking, you know. You're just in that environment. So, you know, it's kind of your comfort zone in a way. And then, you know, you decide to think of a new idea. You know, you're like, okay, I'd like to do this, I'd like to do that. How can I achieve this, you know? So it's something that's outside your norm, you know. It's not within your ordinary way of thinking. So these new ideas, we can look at this idea as an idea Y. So your current way and your old way of thinking, or your current ideas, are ideas X, and the new idea that you'd like to bring in is an idea Y. So when you begin entertaining the idea Y, initially you're only thinking about it from an intellectual level, meaning you haven't internalized it yet. You know, you're still playing with the idea. So for instance, if you say that you want to release your book by end of the year, you know, you'd be like, yeah, I'm pondering over it. You know, I'm just thinking about it, that, all right, you know, I want to release it by the end of the year. But as you go deeper into that idea, you start emotionally getting involved with that idea. So this idea Y, you're now internalizing it. So it's a new idea outside of you, but now you're playing with it more, and you start to emotionally get involved with that idea. So what happens? The idea Y starts mixing with your current idea X. You know, your current idea X was, okay, I'll do it maybe by next year, you know, whenever I can complete it. But now the new idea comes and you say that you want to complete it within the next 6 months or by end of this year. So idea X and idea Y start mixing. Now, when this happens, the reactions in your body, meaning the vibrations in your body, start changing, because X does not support Y. You know, it's like, think of oil and water. You know, oil and water don't mix, right? So when you try to mix oil and water, there's a bit of repulsion. And this is what happens in your body when a new idea mixes with an existing idea in your mind. So at a physical level, because now you're emotionally getting involved with a new idea, at a physical level, you start experiencing reactions. And what are these reactions? You get into a state of worry, doubt, fear, you know, and it translates to anxiety on a physical level. So at an emotional level, you're worried, you know, you feel doubt, you feel fear, but at a physical level, you feel anxiety. You know, so think about things that you feared in the past. You know, what are some of the reactions that you had? Maybe you started sweating, maybe you had a tummy ache, some people get headaches, you know, some people get fight and flight. Is this fight and flight or flight and fight, whatever it's called? You know, you want to run away from the situation, right? It's because these states, the new state, and the existing states have mixed in your mind, and they manifest as reactions at a physical level after coming in as states of worry, doubt, and fear at an emotional level. So, you know, people start experiencing different symptoms. And because of this, now, you know, humans do not like to feel uncomfortable. So what happens, you know, when you start feeling uncomfortable, when you have anxiety, you sweat, you get a headache, you get a tummy ache, you start getting nervous. Most people would like to completely retreat and abandon the new idea altogether. You know, they start telling themselves, oh, no, no, no. But, you know, they start coming up with all these excuses not to. go for what it is they want to go for. That, oh no, no, but I'm busy with my family, I don't have the time, I don't have the money to do this. So what happens? It actually makes them not take the decision, right? So even now, the indecision already caused that fear, but it makes them go even further away from what they were supposed to do in the first place. So, okay, as you said, the idea here is the trick here is just to act on that idea. Just do it. So what happens when you just act on it? In the initial stages, you will still feel uncomfortable because the idea Y has still not been accepted by your existing idea. But eventually, the idea Y, which is now the new idea, gets absorbed into your system and it completely replaces the existing idea, meaning the X idea. So your idea Y, which is the new idea, now becomes your idea Y. Your idea X. So the Y slowly replaces the X and it becomes the new X. So this now becomes your new way of thinking and operating, and you will no longer feel the fear because X has completely been eradicated and Y has completely taken over. So your Y is the new X, and hence the discomfort disappears over time. So this is what fear is. It's simply a mixture of your current ideas and current ways of thinking with your new ideas. So because the two don't mix, that's why you see all these reactions in your body. So the truth is that fear is a lie. Because you can actually overcome these reactions by simply acting on that idea. So what does that bring us to? It just simply brings us back to making decisions. Just make a decision and start acting. That's it. And Vanessa, that's about it from me. So I'm happy to take questions and hear more comments.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was so good. And it's so funny how you were saying, and I'm sure Connie's been over here like, oh my gosh, you kind of went into Connie's total expertise when you were talking about reacting to those fears and getting that anxiety. I think Connie talks about how your body reacts to stress. And that's her expertise. So Connie, I'd love to hear what you have to add for that. But I did want to say what you were saying about how the indecision is really what causes the fear. And it's so true. I know from my experience, the longer I go, like you said, procrastinating about the decision I have to make. And I'm literally my go-to thing is the menu example because that's such a common occurrence with me. The longer I think about what to decide, the more anxious I become about actually making the decision. And so that does make sense that, if I just went in there and bam, made a decision quickly, I wouldn't give my body a chance to start building up that anxiety and that fear, and procrastinating and just making it, it really does. It really does cause the anxiety to kind of procrastinate on the decision instead of just going for it and taking action. So that was really, really good. I absolutely loved it. Connie, I don't know if you have to add anything to what she had to say. That was too good. I'm done talking.
I'm trying to run away from my barking dog. But what I wanted to add to that is, she's been talking a lot about emotions and all of those things cause stress, and by continuing to procrastinate in making decisions, you're just telling yourself and programming yourself to say that that's the right way to do it. So when you start doing what she said is just make a decision, you're overriding the memory in your brain and in your body to then say, oh yeah, now I know what it feels like to make a decision, nothing happened, I kind of like that feeling. And so you little by little start to erase that wedge that you've built of procrastinating and making a decision, and it's going to eventually go away to where your natural instinct is going to be, I'm just going to make a decision, what's the worst thing that can happen, right? I did want to provide a small tool that I use with some of my clients when they're having issues with decisions. We just walk through a decision together. So you're at a restaurant, you're not sure what to order, whether I order the fettuccine alfredo or the chicken quesadillas, which I always get, but I want to try something new, but I'm not sure. What's the worst thing that can happen when you order the chicken fettuccine? that it's cold, that it doesn't taste good, that it's not fulfilling, that it's really not what you wanted. What's the worst thing that can happen? The worst thing that can happen is that you tell the waiter, I don't want it, and you pick something else, right? So when you're in a tough pickle and you're trying to figure out, I don't know what to decide, ask yourself, what's the worst thing that can happen? There's somebody in the room that's earlier we were just chatting through Messenger while they were listening. They said they were looking for a new job. Well, what's the worst thing that can happen to when you apply for jobs, right? Sometimes you're looking for that perfect job or that perfect opportunity, and you fail to apply to things that you may or may not really want, or you may or may not think you qualify for, or you may or may not believe that you'll have even the opportunity to get the position, right? But if you never do those things, then you never know what will happen. Let's say you apply to a bunch of jobs and you're like, I'm going to apply to these jobs. I don't really want them, but let's see if they call me. And I'm going to apply to these jobs that are really out there. I don't even think they're even going to bother to consider me. What if they do call you? What's the worst thing that can happen? That you get a call from a job that you're really not interested in? Then you can say, I don't really want that. What if you get the job from the job that you never thought you would even be considered for? If you'd never made the decision to just put yourself out there and to make the decision and to take that first step, you'll never really know what will happen. And that's when you start to feel like, oh, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? And you start to have regret. Regret is an emotional response as well. It's an emotional response to stress. I now have regret because I don't know what would have happened if I would have made that decision. Well, just make the decision and you will no longer feel regret. All you can feel is, okay, that decision went south. Let me make a different decision next time, right? So I kind of just wanted to add that whenever you're stuck and you're trying to make a decision, ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? Vanessa, if you're at a restaurant and I don't know what to pick, what's the worst thing that can happen if you just put your finger on the menu and say, I want that? The worst thing that can happen is you don't like it and you get a second chance to make a second better and a better decision, right? um so those are some tools that I share with some of my clients. Thanks. That's it
I
for me.
love it. I love it, Connie. Thank you. And honestly, I literally sit there and totally regret it when I don't pick something I totally enjoyed. But I'm not going to get into it because we have to wind down a little early today. Shalini, I'm going to go ahead and pin your website on here. I want you to kind of share with us what people can find on your website, how people can connect with you, where they can find you if they want to reach out to you, and anything what you offer, how you can help them. Go ahead and let them know where they can connect with you, and then once you do that and kind of go over what they'll find in the link, if you could give us just one last tip for us when it comes to decision and fear before we close down the room. All right, I'm done talking.
Great, thank you, Vanessa. Yes, so please connect with me via my website. If you go to my website, you'll see a booking link. It's right on the homepage, and you can book a call with me. You can direct message me on Clubhouse. Please don't be so formal. I'm friendly. I'm nice. So I don't like to get too formal. And you can also get in touch with me on social media. All my social handles are under my contact section on my website. You can even fill in the contact form and get in touch with me. It all directly comes to me. I do not have an assistant, so it's all me, myself, which I love because I can keep in touch with people directly. And what my website basically has is the framework that I use, as I introduced myself as a success enabler in the beginning. And it has the system called Thinking into Results. I think you can see it on the thumbnail of my URL. That's the tool that helps you to get from where you are to where you want to be. So to be very honest, decision and fear are a very small part of what I teach. I think Connie mentioned something around, what's the worst that can happen? And that ties into self-image as well. So self-image is something that I also help people change. And it's a whole, it's a whole tool. So thinking into results is an entire framework that covers much more than whatever it is that we've discussed today, so that we can all move to the next level in our lives, right? Because there's so much that's holding us back. And yeah, and please follow me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Shalini_GD. So you can see ShaliniGadhia.com. So Shalini, the way it's spelled, and then _GD. That's my Instagram handle, because I'm always, making a lot of posts. I also have a Facebook page called Thinking into Results with Shalini Gadhia. So you can also search that on Facebook and follow me. I have a YouTube channel as well, the same thing, Thinking into Results with Shalini. So it's all consistent so that it's easy to find. And I hope to connect with all of you. And I have a very interesting article on decision. So, for those who'd like to have it, you can just maybe drop me a DM on Clubhouse and I can just pass it over to you, because I think that's something that's going to be pretty useful, in any area of your life. Yeah, not just your business, but anywhere that you may need to. So, where the menu comes in, where you need to choose your dish, you can use that article to help you make a quick decision. In no time, you'll just see yourself making decisions very quickly, once you read that article over and over again. So, yeah. And I think the last thing that I'd like to say is that, we are made in our perfect sense in our spirits, so our spirits are meant for expansion and fuller expression. So I'd just like to remind you all that, whatever it is that you're working towards, you are absolutely capable of achieving it. All you need to do is make a decision. Once you make a committed decision that you're going to do it and you're going to start moving towards it, just write your action plan and, use the tips that I gave you. Every single day, just write down 6 things that you can do the next day to move closer to your goal, to whatever it is that you desire. Then you've got it, and you're good to go. So remember that your spirit is meant for expansion and fuller expression. And whatever it is that you desire, it would not have been there if you weren't meant to achieve it. We have goals, we have desires, we have wants within us that we tend to ignore because we doubt ourselves. We wonder how we are going to. We always get stuck in the how, and we don't have to do that. The fact that we have these wants, desires, and goals are because we are meant to achieve them, and that is the reality. So I look forward to hearing from you, and I'd love to share the article with you. And yes, I think I'm done talking. Thank you, Vanessa, and I'd like to thank you both for having me here today.
Of course, it was such a pleasure having you here today. Thank you so much. It was such a good conversation. It's two topics that I've talked about before, just like randomly with people, but I've never talked about it and gotten so much of a new perspective on it like I did today. So thank you so much. This was so valuable. I absolutely love this conversation today. Hopefully everyone in the room enjoyed it. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. Make sure to connect with Shalini, give her a follow, check out her website. Again, we're here almost every Wednesday now at 9 a.m. Eastern. We do have open spots for guest speakers in the coming months. You guys are welcome to apply for those on my website, which you can find on my profile. It's networknessie.com, and you can find it on Instagram at networknessie. So you guys can apply and become a guest speaker if this is something you want to do. But hopefully you guys had fun. Connie, do you want to say any goodbyes before you shut down the room today?
If you have any questions about stress or emotions, Shalini already mentioned you can visit on her website or in her DMs as well. You can do so as well with me. As I always say, stress less so you can live more. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today.
Awesome. And you guys, as you know, my name is Vanessa Cooper. I'm a Pinterest marketing expert and content creator. And if you have any questions on marketing or Pinterest or social media marketing, you're welcome to reach out to me. And hopefully we'll see you guys next week. I'm going to go ahead and shut down the room. And again, thank you guys so much for joining us here on Marketing and Mindset. Have a good one, everyone. I am shutting the room in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye, everyone. Have a great day.